For the SDN cast, we're here at Futuretech, and I'm joined by Daniel. And Daniel, for the people who don't know you yet, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Daniel Laskowitz. I'm a senior cloud advocate at Microsoft, and that means that I'm basically in developer relations. And I focus on the Power Platform, which is kind of atypical here at a .NET or Code conference, basically. I'm working on the low-code platform in Microsoft, which is Power Platform. And what I normally do is I present a lot about those products, and I create a lot of content about it. And all the feedback that I get from people here around the floor, that's what I bring back to the product group, and we try to improve the products that way.
Yeah, you're selling yourself short, because Power Platform is now the glue between the applications we build and everything Microsoft builds, right?
Yeah, so it has been around for a while already. We started with Power BI, Power Apps, and Power Automate, and there were a couple of extra products that came in. So we have now Copilot Studio, as you know, which used to be Power Virtual Agents, and we also have Power Pages, which is a tool to create public websites. And yeah, it kind of makes it possible for everyone to work with their backend services, for instance. So if you want to have SAP connector, for instance, you can do that. You can connect to all kinds of Microsoft services. If you have your own API, which is also kind of interesting, if you build your own API, you can also create a custom connector for it and tie it into those products. So if you want to, for instance, create an app on top of SAP with your own processes, etc., you can do that, or an agent, etc., those kinds of things.
Yeah, but that makes it so powerful, because for people who don't know Copilot Studio yet, to me it felt like Logic Apps with all the connectors and everything just in place. You could just wire up and it works.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because at first when I started in my career, I was also a pro-code developer, and after that I kind of moved into the low-code space because I thought it was pretty cool to do something a little bit more quick with everything, and I still believe pro-code certainly has a place. It's not that low-code is going to replace everything in pro-code. I think it really works well together. So when you have your own API, when you build that in pro-code, it's really nice to have something that can kind of get you started quickly, and that's where the Power Platform really comes in.
And we're now at a developer conference, so how can a developer choose what to use? Should they go Azure AI Foundry, or should they go Copilot Studio?
It all depends. and that's really consultancy answer, but it really depends whether your people in your company are really pro-code heavy, or if they are low-code heavy, for instance. If you have the SMEs in your company who know about certain things, so for instance, you have an HR department that know all about certain processes, etc., and they are not pro devs. So it might make sense to let them create all kinds of topics inside of Copilot Studio for an agent, for instance. And then you can have the pro devs still tie into all the backend systems that they can do, for instance. So those kinds of things are really cool.
Yeah, so it depends. It depends on the use case and your audience. And
it's also really cool because we kind of coined a term called fusion development, and that's basically a thing that you kind of combine everything. So you have teams where pro devs are in, but also low-code people, and they work together on a certain product, for instance, or a certain project. And I think that's really cool.
Is Fusion Developer now the new citizen developer? Is that the new hype?
No. Citizen developer is usually the low-code person, but Fusion development is more, you have low-code, citizen developers, and you have pro-code developers.
Okay, so best of both worlds.
It's all together in one team, and they really need to work together. And that's something that I really like about it, because I think we can get way better when we work together and stop talking about this is better or this is better. It's just, it all depends, and every scenario can be different. Yeah. So I think that's something that people should realize.
For sure. And you mentioned agents just yet. What cool things are you doing now with agents?
Yeah, we are now really working a lot with autonomous agents, as you might know. So within Copilot Studio, we announced that at Ignite, that we have the autonomous agents as well, and those are basically agents that can work separate from a user. So what they can do is, for instance, a user could ask it like a colleague to start a process or to work on a process, and it's almost like an extra worker in your team that you can have, and it will just work for instance, based on an incoming email, or maybe it will start every morning at 9 a.m. or something. Those kinds of things can be done with autonomous agents, and it will then just go through the whole process in there.
It's very powerful, but sometimes also very scary.
Yes.
What do you tell people that are scared to give away that piece of control?
I think that they just should start small. That's a thing that I think is most important, because don't jump in all the way and try to exchange everything into autonomous agents. Just start with a small project and get a bit of a feeling about how it works and what it can do for you, and then slowly build it up if you are happy with it, and if not, it's also perfectly fine to do other stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And are you seeing other things with agents as well, or can't you yet share those things?
Yeah, I think that what we've seen a lot also is multi-agents, so that you have multiple agents for all kinds of things, all kinds of purposes. And that is something that is also coming soon to Copilot Studio, so that's a really good one. Yeah, and what I see a lot is that people are getting more and more enthusiastic about generative AI, and that's something I struggle with that sometimes, because I work at Microsoft, and at Microsoft we tend to go all the way to the new stuff. But there
eat your own dog food, right?
Yeah. But we saw also a lot of companies that aren't that far ahead yet, so they are still putting their first steps into generative AI, and I think that we need to be aware of how fast the world is moving. It's going really fast with generative AI, but a lot of companies are still starting in the beginning. So I think that's something that we should be aware of as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Sometimes it's hard to see from your bubble, your AI bubble, to see there are others still out there.
Yeah.
Just getting started. You mentioned Gen AI. What is your Gen AI moment that Gen AI actually surprised you again in the last months?
Yeah, I think it's still like our hero scenario when we work with Copilot Studio is basically when you start creating an agent, and you can talk conversationally with Copilot Studio to create your own agent. I think that's still like a really cool scenario, and you can get started in like a couple of minutes and you already have a really good agent, because you can add your public websites, you can add your internal SharePoint sites with documents, you can do all kinds of RAG around that. And that's something that to me is still like the big selling point, that you can get from 0 to at least, like, say 70 in like no time. It's so fast, and that's something that I really like, because there are so many scenarios. A lot of people always tend to think about agents that they want the most advanced agent out there, but there are so many scenarios where you can have a really simple agent that can still solve a lot of problems. Yeah. And I think those scenarios are probably not a lot of spotlight is on that, but those are really a lot of scenarios there.
That's a good point. And at 70%, you're already adding value, right? So yeah, that's good stuff. Last question for people who want to get started. Where should they start?
So they should go to the Learn page of Copilot Studio. So go to learn.microsoft.com, and then you can go to Copilot Studio, search for it, and there you can get started on all kinds of things. There's a lot of documentation out there. It evolves really fast as well, because there's features every day that come out. So you really need to take care of looking at it every once a week or something like that, because it goes really fast. And yeah, just start small. Start with the get started documentation, for instance, and then after that you can kind of go deep into all kinds of things.
Perfect, amazing tips. Well, thank you so much, and enjoy this rest of Futuretech.
Oh, thanks, and you too.